All right, guys, this is a lesson on a few basic geometry ideas. So, first geometry idea is something called vertical angles. And vertical angles basically mean that if you have two lines that cross each other, then this angle and this angle will always be the same. So the way this will show up in a question is something like this. You might have 2x plus 1 and 11. And because these guys are the same, we can set that equal to that. So now when we saw this, we're going to say 2x plus 1 equals 11. And now it's just regular algebra from here on out. We're going to get rid of that plus 1 from both sides. That's going to give us 2x equals 10. And then we're going to get rid of that 2 by dividing both sides. And then those cancel out, and we're left with x equals 5. Now it's always a good idea to plug this back in here. And if we plug that in there, 2 times x plus 1, but x is 5, so 2 times 5 plus 1 is going to be 11. And 11 equals 11, and it's good. Okay, so that's the first idea, vertical angles. Next idea is going to be what's called a linear pair. So this is going to look something like this. This is going to be A and B. And we know that this whole thing is going to form a 180-degree angle. So the way this will appear in a question is something like this. This will be, let's say, 6x plus 9. And let's say this is, I don't know, 2x plus 1. And the whole thing is 180. So we can't do what we did in the previous question. We can't say they're equal to each other because they're not, or not necessarily, but we can say that together they add up to equal 180. Now because these guys are all on the same side of the equal sign, we can combine terms that are alike. So 6x and 2x, these terms are alike, so we're going to combine them together to be 8x. And then 9 and 1, those are like terms, so we can combine them together, equals 180. And now from here, we can subtract 10 from both sides, and we get 8x equals 170. And now to get x by itself, we're going to divide both sides by 8. And I don't think 170 is going to divide evenly by 8, and so this will be our answer. Or better yet, we could simplify this down to 85 over 4, and that's in simplest form. Okay, so just to review where we're at, first idea was these guys are the same, vertical angles. The second idea is that those guys are supplementary, meaning they add up to 180. Now for the third idea, has to do with triangles. Angles in a triangle will always add up to 180. So the way this will appear with some algebra mixed in is something like this. X, 2x minus 1, and 3x plus 1. And just like this, that plus that plus that adds up to 180. So that plus that plus that adds up to 180. So let's write this out. We've got x plus 3x plus 1 plus 2x minus 1 equals 180. Now again, because these guys are all on the same side of the equal sign, we can combine them together. We can combine like terms. So x's, 3x's, and 2x's, those guys are all like terms. When we combine them together, we're going to have 6x. And now we've got 1 and minus 1. Those just cancel each other out. 1 minus 1 is 0, and we don't have to write the 0, is equal to 180. Dividing both sides by 6, divide, that cancels, and we get our answer, which is x equals 30. Now it's always a good idea to plug this in and see what we get. This turns that into 30. If we plug it in here, this is going to be 30 times 2 is 60, minus 1 is 59. And if we plug 30 in here, 30 times 30 is 90, plus 1 is 91. And if we add all three of those red angles together, we should get 180. Okay, so again, just a little review. We've had these guys, vertical angles are equal to each other. these guys, A and B, add up to 180, and these guys, also A, B, and C, add up to 180. Now for the final type of question is this. Let's say you're given something like this. We're going to call this A, B, C. And it's going to tell us that angle ABC, the measure of angle ABC is 120. And it says that the measure of angle, let's call this J, measure of angle ABJ is equal to X, and the measure of angle JBC is equal to, let's call this 3X. So let's kind of figure out what this means. ABJ, let's trace that out. As we say the letters, ABJ, ABJ is the red angle, the one that fits in here. This is X. Now let's trace this one out, JBC. So we start with J, we go to B and C, JBC. And JBC traces this angle out, which is 3X. Now the whole thing, ABC is 120, which means that the whole big angle is 120. That whole thing is 120. So this is what's called the angle addition postulate, which means that a little angle x and another little angle 3x, those angles when you add them up together is the whole angle 120. So we're going to set up our equation like this. X plus 3x equals 120, and so we get 4x equals 120 and x equals 30. And if we plug that back in, let's plug this in here, that gives you 30. If you plug it in here, 30 times 3 is 90, and 90 plus 30 add up to 120. And that's how we check our answer. Okay, so just to review everything, if you have things like this, that angle and that angle are the same. If you have something like this angle and this angle add to 180. If you have a triangle, A, B, and C add to 180. And if you're given something like this and it tells you that the whole thing is something like 80, then whatever this is, X and Y, X plus Y will be 80. You have to pay attention to what it tells you the big angle is on that guy. Okay, that's everything.